Hello and welcome to another tier list video. Today we are taking a look at Pringles flavors. Now I don't have every single Pringles flavor on here. These are just the ones that I've tried at least a couple times. But I really like Pringles. I kind of just like chips in general. And I've tried all these flavors and I really like some of them not quite as much. So I'll just be ranking them based on my personal preference. And starting us off, we have the Pringles Original. Now these, like I would say many original flavors of chips, whether we're looking at, Lay's, Ruffles, whatever. I think Pringles, they're not an offensive flavor at all. Almost nobody is really going to dislike Pringles original flavor unless they just like don't like chips in general. But they're not really going to blow anybody away. I'm not really sure of anybody whose favorite Pringles chip is the original flavor. If there is, let me know. I'd love to hear it, but for me, I think the Pringles original flavor is good, but it's just an original flavor. When I'm looking for Pringles, I'm not really looking for just the original, but it's still pretty good, and honestly, I respect it, and it'll still find itself in the B tier. So nothing wrong with it, but really not doing anything too special with that one. Up next, we have the Pringles lightly salted one. Now, this is one that I saw on the shelves for a while. I haven't really seen it quite as much recently, so I'm not sure if they discontinued it possibly. But honestly, I kind of hope they did, because, Pringles lightly salted, I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I'm like, oh, it'll taste pretty similar to the original Pringles. But honestly, it tastes significantly worse, I would say. Really do not recommend the Pringles lightly salted, unless you're really looking for a lower sodium alternative. But if you're really trying to avoid sodium, then chips just probably aren't what you're looking for. So Pringles lightly salted, honestly, gonna find themselves down in the D tier. Up next, we have Pringles reduced fat. Yet another one that I haven't really seen recently, and for good reason, because honestly, I thought the Pringles lightly salted was disappointing, but Pringles reduced fat, I don't really know exactly what they do to reduce the fat in the Pringles, but whatever they do, they need to stop doing it because it does not taste good. Honestly, I've tried it a couple times, and every time it just doesn't really taste like Pringles. I mean, even the consistency of the chip isn't quite exactly the same. Just really throws me off, so Pringles reduced fat actually going to be down in the F tier. Up next, we have the Pringles Salt and Vinegar. Now this one is pretty much the opposite of the lightly salted one. This one is definitely much saltier than the original. So if you like a saltier chip, I think this is a pretty good one to go for. Flavor-wise, I think they taste pretty good, but I can't eat too many of them because they are like, a pretty strong salt and vinegar flavor in there. So if you like salt and vinegar chips, I think you'll really like this one. For me, I can only eat a few before I feel like I need a glass of water, but overall, still a pretty good chip, and gonna find itself in the B tier. Up next, we have Ranch. Now this is a really popular flavor, and for good reason. I think it's pretty good. It tastes like a ranch chip. It tastes like you would expect. And this is another one that it's really not offensive. Not many people actually dislike the Pringles ranch flavor. Overall, I just think it's a pretty solid chip, and gonna find itself up in the A tier. Up next, we have Barbecue. Now, this is what I would probably say is the most popular Pringles flavor, besides the original, of course. And once again, for good reason. I think it tastes really good. It's got a very distinct barbecue flavor. It's pretty clear that when you're eating it, yes, this is a barbecue flavored Pringles. And overall, I just think it's another really solid flavor. Tastes like barbecue, pretty good. Gonna find itself up in the S tier. Up next, we have Buffalo Ranch. Now, I love like buffalo sauce and ranch flavored things. I love the Buffalo Ranch flavored Doritos. I think those are really good. Lay's has a Buffalo Ranch flavored one. That's really good. So I was like, yes, I'm gonna love this one. That being said, when I tried it, I really wasn't super impressed. It's still good, don't get me wrong. I still like Buffalo Ranch Pringles, but compared to what I was expecting when I first tried this one, I was a little bit disappointed, but it's still a good chip, just not quite what I was expecting with a Buffalo Ranch flavored chip, so gonna find itself in the B tier. Up next, we have the Cheddar Cheese Pringles. Now, honestly, this one, I kind of feel like they're ripping off the cheese ruffles. If you like cheese ruffles, you'll probably like these because flavor-wise, they're pretty similar. It's about what you would expect with a cheddar cheese flavored chip. But it tastes good, I enjoy it. Cheddar cheese isn't my favorite chip flavor, but when I'm craving something a little bit cheesy, I think the Pringles cheddar cheese is always a good choice. And that's going to find itself up in the A tier. Up next, we have the Cheddar and Sour Cream. Now this one, kind of similar to the cheddar cheese. but they're going for more of that sour cream flavor. That being said, if you're really looking for a strong sour cream flavor, this chip probably, isn't what you're looking for, because it does have a hint of sour cream flavor, but I wouldn't say it's very prominent. I'm somebody who actually doesn't really like sour cream, so I didn't think I was going to like this chip, but the sour cream flavor is really not that prevalent. It still tastes more like cheddar than it does sour cream, but overall it's okay, but for me, just kind of probably a step down from the cheddar cheese one, and it's going to find itself in the B tier. Up next, we have the Honey Mustard Pringles. Now, honestly, if you like honey mustard and you like Pringles, you will probably love these. The honey mustard flavored, I don't know what they did, but they perfected it. Like, of all the honey mustard flavored chips I've had, the honey mustard flavor on these Pringles is actually really good. It tastes a lot like honey mustard, and overall, it just goes really well. I'm not even a huge fan of honey mustard flavored things, whether it's like, dipping chicken wings in it, but honey mustard flavored Pringles I think are really, really solid and gonna find themselves in the S tier. Up next, we have the Jalapeno Pringles. Now, I'm somebody who loves jalapenos. I love jalapeno flavored things. That being said, I think the jalapeno Pringles are pretty disappointing. They do have a little bit of spice to it, so if you're looking for a Pringles with a bit of kick to it, I think, jalapeno Pringles have that. But flavor-wise, it's just really not there for me. It's not terrible, but pretty disappointing. It really doesn't taste that much like jalapeno. When you try it, it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. There's like a little bit of jalapeno flavor there, but it's mostly just a little bit of spice, and kind of disappointed by that, honestly. So jalapeno Pringles gonna find themselves in the C tier. Up next, we have Pizza Pringles. Now, this is my favorite flavor of Pringles, honestly. I love this one. Anytime I'm buying Pringles, this is always the flavor that I go for. Does it taste just like a pizza? No. But, you're never going to get that on a chip. But the flavor is really good. I don't exactly know what they use to make it, but this is definitely my favorite seasoning for the Pringles. And honestly, really have nothing negative to say about it. Gonna find itself rightfully so in the S tier. Like I said, definitely my favorite flavor. Up next, we're getting into the Scorching Pringles, which is kind of their specialty types that are supposed to be really spicy, scorching, if you will. That being said, they're really not too spicy as far as chips go. So even if you're not a spicy chip person, you can probably eat them without, struggling too much. But flavor-wise, I think they're all pretty decent. Starting us off, we have the barbecue one. And if you like barbecue Pringles and you like spicy things, you'll probably like the spicy, or the Scorching barbecue. I think it's pretty good. Again, I like spicy flavored things, but I feel like what they did to make it spicy, they almost took away a little bit of what made the barbecue Pringles so good, but it's still a pretty solid flavor, and gonna find itself in the A tier. Up next, we have the Scorching Cheddar. Now, this one I think is actually really good. Like I said, I like the cheddar cheese Pringles, but something that they did with this, it just works. The spicy cheddar flavor. I don't know who came up with it, but they did a great job. Scorching Cheddar, honestly, it's gonna find itself in the S tier for me. Up next, we have the Scorching Chili Lime. Now, of the Scorching flavors, I think this is probably the most popular one from what I've heard. I know a lot of people really like this one. At the store, this one is always like the most empty on the shelf. And honestly, I think for a pretty good reason. I think the chili and lime is pretty good. If you like lime flavored chips, I think you'd really like this one if you like some kick in there. It's not my favorite, but overall, I still think it's a pretty good chip, and gonna find itself in the A tier. Up next, we have the Pringles Dill Pickle. Now, this is honestly kind of just a ripoff of the Dill Pickle potato Lays. But honestly, it doesn't really work. They tried, but honestly, if you're looking for a dill pickle flavored chip, just go for Lays, honestly, or even Ruffles, something else. Because the Pringles Dill Pickle, it's really missing the mark for me, and it's gonna find itself down in the C tier. Up next, we have the Pringles Sour Cream and Onion. Honestly, just like the Dill Pickle one, this is pretty much just a ripoff of the Sour Cream and Onion chip from Lay's. And once again, it really misses the mark. If you're looking for a Sour Cream and Onion chip, I would say don't go for Pringles. Just go for one of the other brands. They do it much better. This one, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's also going to find itself in the C tier. Well, that's my list. Let me know your guys' thoughts, and I hope you enjoy.